Do you have Clubhouse games?
I don't. I could get it.
You could get
Oh,
it.
not Metroid
Is
Dread.
it? I think it's on sale right now.
I might pick it
Yeah,
up.
I think it's. Yeah, it's on. I think it's on sale right now. Might still be on sale. Let me check. Oh shoot! Yeah, it's on sale.
How much?
Oh, on Amazon it's $27.99. Let me check. Check Switch. I know it is on sale right now. I just had to check. Yeah, it's $27.99 right now. It used to be $39.99.
Not bad, actually.
Yeah. Purchased 5 times.
It's for Switch, right?
Yeah, it's for Switch. Ludo? Ludo is addictive. Dishnet gets me.
Yeah, Clubhouse games?
Yeah,
Fun.
Clubhouse
I think we
games
have one more spot, Plasma. Just kidding. You know me, I do 7s. If you want to get in, get in.
Yeah, I'm getting in.
Password's all 7s.
Drop this.
Took about an hour, Jesus. I don't even know what Ludo is, but I'll find out.
It's like sorry or trouble.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Pop-O-Matic Trouble, the game that takes literally forever.
Oh yeah, Ludo's supposed to be like the original name, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or cheesy.
A different card background. Look at you.
I know, right? Crazy. Listen, I love
David's
cards.
also level 99.
Stick and Spin Pro.
Yeah, Rosie loved Stick and Spin.
I haven't played it in a while.
When you first got the game, you were like, "Twy, you gotta play Stick and Spin. It's so good." It's hard
actually
though.
really fun. It's hard. It is hard. How far? What's your highest? 50?
Probably 50.
I sometimes I get really close to like level 90, level 100, and I'm just like I choke it real hard. I'm like no. So
Gorgeous guys sometimes have a week late MagFest breakdown, post MagFest breakdown, and that's okay.
Mental or like breaking down what happened?
Mental,
Okay.
it's fine. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. I'm just processing stuff from the flu.
Hmm.
But I'm excited to play some Mario Party.
Yeah, Marty Party. Here, I can try.
I got blueberries.
Am I?
oh my
Did
god.
I pass you?
I'm on me.
Oh my god, I've seen tweets of like all the LPers being like, hey look, oh I got NFT of my icon.
Oh my god. Who was that NFT of their icon? Oh, there you are. I found you.
Found you.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
You might still need the password, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
It's all
where'd you put
7s.
Oh, okay, cool.
I like to do all 7s.
It's a good number.
Oh, David's the odd one out. Take a look.
Always picking the same one down.
Well, let's look at Conquered the King, Solid Plasma. Favorite board is Spaceland.
Conquer the King, huh? Solid.
I guess that's what happens when you win a Bowser minigame? I wouldn't know.
Yes, that's what happens
Yes.
when you win the Bowser minigame.
I've never won one, I don't think. Alright, let's just go into it.
Go.
Yeah, Dish, you get that one by winning a Bowser minigame. Or like not losing.
Which is basically winning in about the minigame. In most
Yeah, I
games,
know.
actually.
Alright. I want to be Rosalina if no one else wants to be Rosalina.
I want to be Yoshi.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm gonna be Donkey Kong because that's in my contract.
With your retractable teeth.
We'll be Nemesis.
Mm-hmm. And I have to mention the retractable teeth.
It's a sponsorship opportunity.
I think chat should pick the board.
Except for Woody Woods.
Yeah, no Woody Woods.
I'm at
Chat pick Woody Woods.
Yoshi's Tropical Island,
Pull
Spaceland,
that.
Peach's Birthday Cake, or Horrorland.
Can I pull that? I'll pull that.
Yeah, you're a mod.
I'm gonna a mod, and I'm gonna pull it to you.
Chat pick Woody Woods. If it's not on the poll, don't vote.
Stop the count.
You guys see the
Stop
new
the
Kirby
count.
trailer? Stop the count. But yeah, how about that new Kirby trailer with the fishing?
It does look great. I'm excited for
Kate-
Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Alright, Tropical Island, Birthday Cake,
Spaceland or Horrorland.
Spaceland. Okay.
Why did you go
Alright,
back to
I
your
started
home
it.
on
There you
4
go.
or my-
Board? Thank you for the caps. Cake, Space, Island, Spooky.
And if you want Woody Woods, don't vote.
It's really good. The new Kirby trailer. It's going to like some like fucking Mario Odyssey shit. Oh my god. It's so crazy how they expanded from like Kirby's 3D Blast to like to Kirby's Blowout Blast and then all the way to like Kirby in the Forgotten Land. It's like, what if we did this cute little platformer thingy and then expand it times like 10 million.
Yeah. Alright, we have 2 votes. Island and Spooky. 2 for Island now. Island's in the lead. Oh, 1 for Space.
Quick,
I think I
tie the
should have
vote.
made
Tie
the
the vote.
poll longer.
Tie the vote,
I put it for
hurry.
1 minute. I thought that was enough
If,
time.
if it was completely even among all 4, I would have picked Woody Woods.
Okay, Island.
Yeah. Ah.
Going to Island?
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Island.
20 turns is fine?
Yeah, 20 turns is fine.
We can do 30. No, okay. Unless you want to.
go.
Yeah. Let's see how we feel once we get to 15.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's right. This is the Saturday crossword.
Yeah.
So you say start at 15 and then see if we want to add turns?
Yeah. I'm inclined to.
Or take it, or go to 20. Or start at 20, and then, like, if we want to add more, we can.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I started 20.
On or classic?
On all the way on.
Okay, minigame help is on. Handicap is not on.
No.
All types, even though I hate Honeycomb Havoc and like 90% of the minigames. No, I'm kidding.
That's how the game works. You hate it, but you love it.
There's an achievement for winning every single minigame on a board.
Oh, well, you like over the course of one board, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
That's ridiculous.
impossible.
You have to set the AI to easy to get that, I imagine.
Or you know, have your friend throw. Which, if they're really your friends, they won't do.
Unless you get Bowser's Big Blast, then you just be like,
Well, this is if you get Bowser's Big Blast, reset the game.
I agree.
Yeah, if you're going achievement hunting, yeah, probably.
it's that one YouTuber that does like the Mario Party challenges. I go through all 8 games, and if I get Bowser's Big Blast, I have to go on to the next one.
Oh, they're gonna have to start over from game 1.
What?
Rosie,
I
press
know
A.
you're talking about Big Blast, the best minigame ever created.
Rosie, that's you.
Oops, my bad.
You're
Sorry,
good.
I'm focused. I'm trying to figure out the crossword. This is really hard.
Oh no, they're fine.
It's symbolic. Me getting a win is symbolic.
I'm really mad that they didn't put Bowser's Bigger Blast in this game.
What's the difference?
There is no difference. Like, it's just me being stupid.
They just called it Bowser Bigger. They should have called it Bowser's Bigger Blast.
They did. They called it Bowser's Bigger Blast in Mario Party 4. It's the exact same game.
Like in this one, they should have called the game Bowser's Bigger Blast
Okay.
instead of calling it Bowser's Big Blast.
I think in
Maybe like,
Bigger
what?
Blast, the music's more threatening.
Oh.
And when it explodes, it's more detailed.
A gory explosion bit's awesome.
Yeah, you see Yoshi's bits explode.
I don't need that.
What?
Yeah, keep doing that.
There you go. Just for you.
Bowser's extra large blast.
This Sesh one sauce.
Yo,
She thinks that'll do. That'll do, Yosh. That'll do.
all of a sudden this turns into big.
Toad's Ga and Yoshi's What are two parts of the same event.
Who's got?
Toad.
Yeah, probably. I thought Bullet Bill and Yoshi's What were part of the same event.
Yod. That's a ship from hell.
Well, I'm just gonna go with the hit random letters until they are correct.
Is it Toshi or Yod?
Yo.
Yosuke.
Yosuke.
Is there a Josuke in JoJo?
Yeah,
Oh, come on now.
yeah, there is. He's a Josuke.
Why was
He's-
memeing?
He's the fifth one, right?
Bruh.
Josuke is the fourth one.
Okay, he's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Crazy, noisy bees. I need to watch JoJo.
God, that one, I really enjoy the fourth one, honestly. That one was a really good arc.
Yeah, I heard good things about the fourth one.
I don't see part one, I'm not sure whether I want to continue or not. I've heard definitely good from the other one.
First one is definitely like it's the slow one because you know it's
I
the
like
start.
it.
You got to build up the lore.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was honestly not bad, but like. Okay.
Yeah, it's slow. It's the necessary evil. You gotta know the beef.
I feel like I won't like the other JoJo's as much as the thing.
It is focus time for me. I thought there was gonna be one more at the last second.
Damn it! So I get some button mashing.
But yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is weird because what you know JoJo to be all comes from the third season. The first season, the second season almost feel nothing like the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they switched to their personas or whatever after.
What the heck? What is the new poll? Oh my god.
Yeah. The third one has the stands. I think the second one has the stands.
Oh shit, we didn't do a prediction.
Mario time.
Oh yeah, we can still do that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a poll.
Let me take care of it.
There goes my luck.
I'm gonna put me and David on the same team,
Wow, I see
Yeah.
how it is.
and
I mean,
Rosie
I
and
have to
Solid.
be against David, it's just a rule.
I'm gonna give them 2 minutes to vote.
The underdog is now Rosie. Let's go.
Ooh.
You okay? Have a little accident? Oh, fuck.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
that didn't work
there's
out.
definitely an accident now.
Yes, there sure is. Well, shit.
Someone's pants were shat.
Had to check the map. Didn't do that.
You found a hidden block.
You can use the item you just got. Want to give it a try?
Right?
I could.
I feel like David has a significant advantage with these 3 items on turn 2.
Let's try this, because I really don't want this cursed block. Random!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Big McThankies from McSpankies.
One! Oh, shit.
Yeah! It's like you got it too.
This is gonna suck.
Hey, what is it?
Ooh. Ooh. Hey, we saw how this went the last time. Right, Rosie?
Yup. Oh,
They-
that's the one.
They changed it a lot in this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, oh shit.
I finished the crossword.
Good job.
You have more control in this one.
Mm-hmm.
My god, my controller just fucking vibrates.
I wonder what the task is for this.
Oh god, I can't. I'd love to see that. Damn it. Okay. Fine.
Winner!
I love that game. I love
It's
that
fun,
game.
yeah.
I'm not very good at it.
This one's pretty good. Also, the ship is now Tadashi, or Tochi. as it's
Tochi.
put.
What?
Oh,
Why isn't it
gosh.
yo?
Yod.
Yo is the yod.
Anyway, hit it one.
A yo for bread.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to roll.
Hilarious.
That is the opposite
I'm
of a
gonna
1.
poop. I'm gonna poop. Oh wait, that's no, it's swapped it. I didn't realize.
Oh, well, you go use the bathroom, Mario.
Everybody nut. If you can nut right now.
Everybody nut. If you can nut, nut. Right now.
You
Oh
have
good!
nothing. You
Hi,
have,
Bowser.
you have nothing.
Take it all, bitch.
Mario, this is not a restroom.
Oh, he
Please
doesn't
get
help
out.
you. Yeah. This isn't a Starbucks. You have to buy something.
About the show, Bowser. I was kidding. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Take it.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
No,
Of course
we're-
you land on the one. Of course you land on that fucking one.
This man wants the shit in my gamer pod.
Bro, I won that
Everyone
minigame
needs
fair and
egg.
square.
And more. You unwon that minigame now. Nobody wins. If I can't have shit, no one can.
Let's
I need a 3. Damn it.
Look,
Well, at least you have another chance.
I didn't realize you had the
Hey.
star card.
Well, if anything goes wrong, you can run.
Yeah, actually, that would be great because
watch
Rosie
me-
goes
watch me get
before me.
Bowser again.
So
Okay, I need to move, so. Wow.
good thing you did that.
Shit.
I need to move. You sure did.
Well, yeah, you did. So who can complain? Not you.
I feel like he is still within his rights to complain of that.
You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to Bowser.
Nice.
Oh no.
Shuffle everyone's face. Is that an option? I forgot.
It is. It's the Bowser Shuffle.
Okay.
Oh, Donkey
Shuffle.
Kong!
Bowser
haven't seen
Shuffle.
you in 5
Bowser
minutes.
Shuffle.
We don't got Bowser Shuffle.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Trill, how you
Minigame,
doing?
let's go. Minigame. Let's do fun time. Oh, Battle Evolution's on there, dang.
But you broke.
Not as broke as not as broke as Plasma.
True.
Well,
I mean,
on the bright
Yeah.
side, at least I'm not the target.
All right, Rosie, let's do
attack
this.
the ball, please.
Balloon
Oh no,
burst.
I'm not good at. I'm not good at
this
this
either.
one.
David, please carry us. And I say that not in the way that I'm not going to try, like in a certain other minigame. but you know. You want to do it as fast as possible or just in rhythm?
I do it in a rhythm.
Look at the gauge.
There's a gauge right under us.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not getting any money. Let's go.
I feel that, Trill. I hope you're doing well,
I
though.
wouldn't know what actually relies on us, though. I just do it in that one because it's bullshit.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the game started for some reason.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't say hi. Hi, Trill. Hello. How are you?
Wow, I tried. Good game.
Yep.
I'll probably try and stream more of this. This is a little
It's
bonus.
so good. I love it. So good and rage-inducing.
No, it's not.
Maybe I should play some Mario Party maybe I should stream some Mario Party while I wait for my capture card.
Oh, they're all under the Oh, I guess they're not. I'm with Rosalie49, Solid Plasma, and Demek Super Mario, Trill.
Hello.
Let's do a roll call.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm
hello.
Twy.
Oh, hi, I'm the Max Super Mario, DMS Mario, or you might hear David.
Oh well, I'm Rosie or Rosalie49.
Hi, I'm Solid Plasma, or Solid, or Plasma, or Evan.
Yvonne.
I thought you were gonna
Van.
end that with or Daddy. It was like, oh shit.
I
that's a
thought you
good-
said
I'm
it's
not
fine.
daddy.
I'm like, that's a weird way to say Ethan.
Peyton is daddy. We all know this. Also,
What the
there's a
fuck,
correct
man?
output.
What did I do to you?
How bunny.
Nothing, but you have no coins. Communism, baby.
I literally can't max out that gauge no matter what I do.
Yeah, it's hard.
Back faster,
You
Fortnite.
won.
Why don't you
You
stop,
won, humble.
Rosie?
How about I don't?
Yeah, how about you just don't? What the hell?
Well, look
Oh,
at
that's
me.
that's a pretty sound argument.
Get Bowser Jr.
I'd rather not. You
Damn.
know what? That's not bad that you don't take it.
How many times does the thing go forward until it stops? Because
I feel like it's 4, but I'm not sure. It just feels like 4, you know what I mean?
What? Okay. I pick your poison.
Fuck.
God.
I
You
mean,
know,
2 out of 3
make it-
chance. What could go wrong?
What? Oh my god.
You know, I've been thinking about.
I can't avoid it. So
I deserve this somehow.
After what you did to me, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I literally can't avoid it. So even if you swap with me, you only delay my demise.
You want to go to Bowser?
Bowser,
Yeah, you want to go to Bowser?
I ain't going to Bowser. Hell no.
So long, gay Bowser.
What?
So long, web
You don't
browser.
want to. You don't want to shoot yourself in the knee in hopes of something great.
You claim insurance fraud from Bowser.
Man, gonna push me out of the way here.
I swear to God, if I
Where's
pass
your
a
roll?
star.
No, you're at you needed the 13. You couldn't get it.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna be able to get it regardless.
Get some.
You could get a cursed ice block and curse yourself.
I was thinking that, yeah. I run the risk of summoning Bowser over, but at least it'll be for good funds.
Wait, oh wait, you could have. Could you? No, I guess not.
I just need to remember that strategy, else I do random again, and then
Oh,
we'll see
boy.
who gets it.
I don't know what this one is.
This is the one where you have to control which direction the skewers come from.
Oh, this one's
Oh,
hard.
this one.
It's hard for the one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Imagine that. You guess there's a bit of delay, but I always found it tricky. Oh well.
This is a bad layout, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, like it's randomized.
It is, yeah. I think it is.
The layout?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh god.
That was a real bad spot.
Damn it.
I'm not sure why you didn't move, I will be honest.
I tried to move. Hopefully it takes that long at least.
That's really
Take
hard
the
for the.
carry
That's
quad.
I
really
wish it
hard
would
for the
let you
one.
move the last one.
Yeah. What if you could shuffle the What if it was like a sliding block, like one of those like sliding piece puzzles with the 3 blocks that protects them, so you could move those two.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That'd be a lot to take care
use
of,
use
though.
use the twin sticks. I mean,
Interesting. I feel like it'd be really hard for the 3 at that point, then.
yeah, it would be.
What kind of sound is that?
Damn it.
Yeah, it's a Kamek sound. No way.
Oh, hello. Give me a
Bruh.
star, please. A star?
We all have the same amount of stars. I don't think it would give you one.
That's true. Good night,
Well-
blue coin.
Here it comes. I can't delay it.
Your railing is here.
Yeah.
It's okay, Yoshi. It's good to see you, Yoshi. How are you? Would you like this inflatable tube? Wow, you didn't need to pay me 13 coins. Here you go. Oh, you popped it.
Just like how I popped your pussy.
You're getting an item at least, and some money.
Don't talk about that. I thought we were
Money.
gonna keep that a secret, Yoshi.
Good night, Blue.
Night blue.
Good night, Blue.
Solid.
Oh, hello.
I'm stealing money from you.
This is the longest I've ever heard this song.
That's faster, Mario, you bitch.
Oh Jesus.
15.
Yeah.
So funny.
I need an 11 to get the star this turn.
Oh, that's the one I
Ooh,
didn't
not
want.
bad.
Actually, no, that's not bad. Actually, I'll take that.
Let's go. Ooh.
So get a one.
I will. Alright.
Okay.
It looks like a 1.
Okay.
It's a really horrible one. but
It's
it
a
looks
slightly straighter.
Did I
one.
just land on the battle space?
I swear to God, if you did.
Oh.
You got a star.
That's why we're low on funds as it is. Why would you do this?
We're all broke.
Well,
Hey, 5 coins, please.
30, 30, 30, 30. It won't be 30, but like...
Bruh. You can't even afford it. You barely.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Please don't.
Oh my God.
No, not Martha.
my entire
Oh, no.
allowance is on the line.
Nah!
This one sucks.
The worst one.
Oh god, this one.
My entire allowance is on the line.
Jumping kills your momentum when you land, by the way.
Yeah, fuck.
It sure does.
Shit. Well,
Start.
Ooh.
Damn it!
Oh man. That's what I didn't want.
Okay,
I'm glad I just stayed in that corner the whole time.
that's fine. I get some of my money back.
I got 5
I
points.
screamed real fucking loud.
I have 5 steel coins. I'm
I got the we've got the pity coins. Yeah,
Oh
money.
man, if I won that would have worked so well.
I know.
Now you broke.
Now you broke ass.
Yeah, I am. Well,
I think we're 5
Move
turns
on.
in it. We have a lot of points.
Why didn't you curse yourself?
because I want to be able to afford it regardless. And I don't want to lose more money. Because if I won the minigame, if there was a minigame to be
Like,
won,
even
I
if-
would have been
'cause,
able to get it.
Two or three would have gotten him either red space, which he can't even get the star then, or Bowser, or like no, that's the event space. So
Unless it times 2. Unless it
Oh
times
god.
2.
Well, enjoy your money.
what's this one? Oh, this.
Are you good at mashing?
Yeah.
Not the answer I wanted.
You winning?
Yeah, I told you I'm good at that.
Are you winning, Rosie?
Well,
This is
okay,
really
not
hard
wait.
for the 1. For the 3.
I've said this once and I'll say it again. As long as Rosie is perfect, there's no way we're getting her.
This entire game is dependent on you screwing up.
I know.
Is that- come on.
No,
Damn,
she's got
Rosie,
it.
you gotta flex on us like this.
He messed up so many times.
Winner.
Okay, you know what?
I almost lost my grip.
I
I
retract.
was actually losing.
retract-
I was actually losing stamina.
You didn't need that.
Yes, I
I
did.
retract
you
my
didn't.
statement. This.
It was.
This one
Oh wait,
just
was it a
sucked.
bonus one?
Yeah,
realize.
it was.
I didn't realize it was bonus.
Alright, then.
You are banking right now.
I got my money.
It's alright. We'll make it work.
Alright, what do we have? What is the board? Oh, okay. Oh, hey, Bowser. You know what?
Miss!
Okay, maybe I fucking will. Okay, you know what? I'll take it. Someone else can take it for a change. I don't care.
Tick tock on the clock and the party don't stop. No. Roll
Whoa,
1.
whoa, whoa. I mean,
Fuck.
sure. Move on.
Well, hell yeah! I'm glad I did that now.
Don't stop, make it pop, DJ blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight
Alright,
till we
here's
see
one
the
again.
sunlight. Yeah, thank you.
Nah, Dave's lucky he already walked past it.
Hmm.
I mean, if I had botched the match, I could have very well at least got some pity money.
Oh my fucking god. I hate it here.
Lamau rip.
It's not expanding.
Hell yeah. Open bottles in the ice like a blizzard. When we think we do it right,
Koopa,
getting
you
slizzard,
king. Thank you
sipping
for the money.
scissorping. In my ride like 3 Now I'm feeling so fly like a G6. Like a G6, like a G6. Now I'm feeling so. No, okay.
Yes!
I thought it was gonna be Castaways.
I hate this one.
Castaways is just a
What?
bad game.
Good.
I just don't understand this one. Like,
Yeah,
I
you
just
have
don't
to-
understand how people.
You have to watch the moles and like be away from them, I guess.
Start.
Well, yeah, but like, then there's that random chance where like the bowl doesn't even go for anyone. It goes for like knock that one person, so they get all that free time.
Fuck off. Ah, fuck!
Damn it! Oh,
No!
Winner.
So close!
Oh
if I
my
didn't get
God, this
bonked, if I didn't get bonked at the end, I would have won that.
I know, I didn't get bonked at the end. Fuck!
See, that's what I
you-
mean, though. Like, you have to get really lucky that they go for every other character except
Or
yours.
like, or you had to be lucky that like the space that spot you happened to choose, no one else picked it.
Yeah, or like once you pop up, the Monty Moles are going for the person on your left.
Once you pop bottles in the ice like a lizard. When we drink, we do it right. And slizzard.
Getting blizzards.
Sipping scissor in my right.
Oh yeah, why where's your setup now? Is it at your bedroom?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in my living room before.
Yeah, that's
Or in
what I
my,
was thinking.
in my entryway, I guess I should say.
Oh, okay.
Man's really just took all your money, did he?
At least you get an item out of it.
Okay, here it comes.
And you get money.
good item.
Get ready for it to steal like 2.
Fucking red. Oh, really?
No, I don't know.
Was that
I
good
don't know
imagine?
how I don't know how to differentiate.
I don't know how much how it does.
That's basically 2.
Why is Far East moving play Mario Party?
I'm a rocketeer, so let's fly.
Use him to actually help me, please.
Up, here we What
that might-
the hell?
Oh,
Kidding
Uh,
me.
oh.
I haven't heard that song in forever.
Finish.
That is not what you wanted, I'm sure.
I mean,
Fine.
custom is pretty much a cursed dice, technically, if you think
I mean,
about it.
I wanted the Boo Bell.
The
Same,
bell.
but we can't always get what we want, so let's settle.
Mm-hmm. Why is Far East Movement playing Mario Party? I don't know, Trill. I have mental problems, so
Hello.
Yeah.
Popping Mario in the ice like a blizzard.
Is that Aiden that just joined?
Did Aiden just join?
Heard someone join.
I can't tell. I'm in streamer mode, so like
It was Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden said they turned the PC
your
on,
thing
so-
isn't doing the thing. I feel that. No, you're not. You don't need to be lucky.
Looking up 6.
Oh, great.
Rosie got lucky.
Let's go.
Up all night to get fun.
Nope.
Up
Don't
all
eat.
night to get some.
Hello.
Shawty's up all night to get low.
Low, 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 low.
She hit the floor. Shawty got, shawty got low. She hit the floor.
Low, low. Okay, hang on. Let me look at the board. Where is it at? Okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
Hit up. You're holding on, Limo.
Okay.
Oh, good bit on Aiden, what do you have?
What do you have?
A knife! No! Oh my god.
No.
Oh,
No.
a book.
No! Hated
Yes.
You don't need that.
Yes, I
Put
do.
it back in the box. Put it back where you
Somebody
found
told me
it.
I have to trade a bunch of stars for bananas. I'm doing this so I can live, okay? I'm gonna starve. I need my
Oh,
Haven't
no.
you heard? Only shooting stars break the mold, not the regular stars.
I
Okay,
swear it
well,
moves you
David has a
upwards.
handicap
I
here.
swear to
So
God
what
it moves you
happened?
upwards.
All right, it's time. Let's go.
Yeah, this is David's specialty right here.
Yeah.
Start.
Oh fuck.
This is actually the easiest pattern I've seen in a long time.
How many are
I
there?
think it's always the same pattern
It's
now.
I don't
isn't
think it is.
Yeah, I remember loop.
I've never seen one this easy, so. Oh, you let the screen move you? That's smart.
Among Us.
Finish.
If I win this. No, I didn't.
Yay!
No, man.
I don't know how I won that.
I don't know how you won that either, actually.
I should have drawn the sus better.
Well, you know, it's okay because I just needed enough to get.
Fair enough.
You have to get the star. It must be nice.
Mario time.
What do we got? What do we? Oh, you know what we got? That we absolutely got.
You gonna roll a 1 and get some money?
I mean, if you try and
There's
go
only
for the
one,
event,
there's only
I can-
one
I
option
have-
here that will not work out in my favor necessarily. I'm gonna play as one of the other two.
Good night, Dish.
Like this.
Good night, Dish.
Yes, I'll take it. 1 or 2 would have been fine. I'll take 1.
Alright, let's do this. I wish the versus spaces would come back after they all were exhausted.
Well, that would be nice.
No, they just went to
Yeah,
random spot, I think.
They do?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
What?
What the hell?
Oh, that was a very interesting
Paths of Peril.
turn.
Paths of Peril.
Coney Island!
Yeah, we just did this. We just did basically the same thing.
Oh yeah.
What's the circle one?
I'm legally obliged to do it Among Us, but
Do it.
David, I don't think you
But
can
it's
do it
your
Among Us on this
contract,
one and
dude.
win.
no. It
Hold on,
takes
I'll
into
do one
factor
just
when
for
you
you,
go
I'll do
out
one
of
for
it.
you. Hold on.
Also, you can't do it in the beginning. You have to do it like just a little away from it. 'Cause
Oh,
once you
because it
complete that
stops you.
line,
Oh my god.
yeah. So you can't do that.
Oh man, I was trying to do it. I tried, Dave.
10 this time. Let's go.
Start.
I'm gonna skip it legit.
Crank it up, crank it up.
The sober girls around me, they be acting like they drunk. Acting like they drunk.
Acting like they drunk.
Plastic water bottle and a paper towel roll.
Oh no.
How you,
On a paper towel roll.
Paper towel
how you
roll.
doing?
What the hell
towel
happened,
roll.
Plasma? What the hell happened?
I died.
What happened there? Yo! Oh!
How did you get an
What the hell?
80? Yours looked better than mine.
79.
No. I think it was the right arm. I think
Winner.
yours looked a little better. A plastic water bottle
And a
I never
paper
played
towel
with
roll.
videos. Oh wow.
Oh my god, the fucking Rocco. What?
What?
The Rocco drama is amazing.
What?
I love it so much.
That's so funny.
How can
It's been so many years.
Rocco's not alive?
Rocco's
You see
not
the tweet they
alive.
put out?
And he sure won't be after Elmo's done with it.
Wait, where are you going? Scott, it's faster if you drive.
Sorry, I just saw this really great thing. Hold on. I
Okay.
just saw it.
See, the thing is, Rocco isn't just a boulder, you see. He's a rock. A rock.
Oh,
Rocco can't win the snail race. Rocco's not alive.
Why?
And the winner is Rocco.
Rocco's a stupid boulder. Rocco, not a boulder. It's a rock.
Rocco is
Did
so
you guys-
funny.
did You guys see the elbow Cooper stare when she sings this Rocco theme
Oh
song?
lord.
Yeah, it's excellent.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a really good January meme. A funny
It
one.
feels very January.
And it's
love
like
it.
it's a good mix of nostalgia and like it's just really funny.
Oh no.
So yeah,
you know
how
what?
y'all
That was
doing?
the winner. We're doing good. How about you, Undine?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I'm good.
You got a star.
I'm good. I got this new swingy.
Oh, that is evil.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I have words that are unprintable.
Pain.
Let's
No, Rocco doesn't even know what it is. Oh my god, that Rocco
Wait a
is
minute.
amazing. I love it.
How are you not lucky, you piece of fucking shit? Well, at least I got a bench space. It doesn't matter. That's my-
At least I got one too.
Gosh, right before.
See, here's
What the fuck?
Get fucked.
clipping this.
here's the problem. It's not going to matter for Twy.
Oh no.
Because I already see what's going to happen.
No.
He's not looking to roll a 1. Because he has a...
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm thinking. Solid could just use the dice block, roll a 1.
Why would you give people
And then you-
ideas like this?
I mean, I was thinking it.
Internal monologue.
I mean, that's what Solid was banking on to begin with. So it still
One of
doesn't
the
deviate from his
options,
plan.
I know. I'm just being silly.
What's going? Oh, we're bumping.
Also,
Aw,
it's
I'll
nice to
bump
give
your
people
balls.
I barely played this one. Okay, this one. Okay,
Oh, it's the
this one's
hills.
okay.
Okay, this is the only good version of this game.
What? My balls got knocked off.
I'm gonna bump your balls with a baseball bat.
start.
I would enjoy that.
Excuse me?
Very much.
I see Solid.
Well, that's why Solid left right away in that game.
One of my heads is definitely not in the game right now.
Let's call it truce.
The
Let's call
other-
it truce, Twy. Let's call it truce.
You wanna call a truce?
No!
No!
Fight to the fucking
Dave.
death!
Yeah!
Oh my
Hey, you ever see
fucking
Donkey Kong's
God.
creep? Look at this. Look at this. Look how he creeps.
If one of you runs off the edge, I may not do a 1 next turn.
Nah.
Well, then the fate is sealed.
You're gonna roll a 1 regardless.
No, I don't want to not move, you know?
No, you're gonna roll a 2 instead.
Well, I have the choice, so we'll see.
Y'all T-pose in here with your balls.
I hate you all. Except Brody, because Brody was not responsible for this. In fact, I don't hate Aiden either. I hate specifically Twy and David for this.
That's fine. I'm used to it.
Damn.
You already know what happens when you go against me, Solid.
Yeah, I cry and hemorrhage internally.
Please don't hemorrhage internally, that's very bad.
Okay, I'll hemorrhage externally.
You could also,
No.
you know, get the star.
And also, you know,
You could also, you know,
I
get
don't
good.
think that's going to happen.
You
my
could
friend.
land on a
Gotta-
lucky space and get the star.
That's a better idea.
Just
maybe.
get better at Mario Party,
You
Solid.
could literally just get a lucky space.
You know, maybe I will right now.
Bowser space?
And
Oh my god, yeah, actually. Bowser. Oh no.
I knew it was. I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
oh, I see.
if I can't win, I may as well ruin it for everyone else.
You're gonna give someone your last 7 coins.
And
Yeah, you're gonna mess this up.
You know, honestly, if I give
Clip's ready, everyone.
No.
Okay.
Rosie gives all the coins to. Oh no.
Yes. I've got nothing to lose. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about the worst it could have been, honestly.
It could have been worse, honestly.
I was afraid.
Worse, it could have been Mario gives Yoshi stuff.
Yeah, right? 20 coins. What? You don't have 20? Well, we'll just put negative numbers on you until you can pay it off.
That's how
Damn,
big.
Mario's in debt.
Oh,
Look, plumbing is pretty hard.
fuck.
I love that the toll is so low that it hasn't even bothered to come up with the half-price toll.
I got a refund. I only lost $13.
Yeah, you want to ensure you don't get that 0, huh, Twy?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I can't. Like, I hope they patch in the super curse dice block where you only move 0 or 1.
Is there actually something like that?
No.
That'd be funny.
I mean, it used to be in the in Super Mario Party,
Really?
but yeah.
It was hilarious.
It was like, I guess in that game it was more or less a strategical way for the person, because then it's like, okay, I can stick here.
Beat. Beat. Beat.
Y'all,
Y'all can't stand up to my feet whistle.
I think I got a feet with right here.
No.
No!
You're whistling at feet.
Okay,
I
now we
mean-
have sure this is slower.
Yeah, it's the turnaround is so much slower in this one.
Oh god, it's this one.
Sorry, Rocco won't know the difference. How is Rocco making even a Joey? No, Alba! Rocco doesn't even have a mouth! Rocco's just a rock! Rocco's not alive! Rocco isn't even a name!
Oh, I could have turned. Wow, he came at me quick.
Fuck.
Winner.
That looks way more than 1.9 yards away.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Yours look closer to me.
Yeah. Also, because Rosalina's bigger, because she's mommy, so like that's probably why.
So her
Objects in
ass
the
is
mirror.
bigger.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Objects behind the mommy may seem closer than they are.
They're in the club Milky Way.
I don't even wanna.
The mommy way.
The mommy way. The way
Man, talk about umami.
Ooh, mommy.
Oh, mama.
Wait, have you seen that Epic Curious video? It's the one. It's like the $100 ramen versus like the $11 one.
Oh god. What happened?
I haven't seen that, no.
What happened in it?
One of the so he has to. I think it was the home cook has to make a like a flavoring oil, and it's like, and it talks about like giving the broth some umami, and he tastes it. And he tastes the flavoring oil. And he's like, ooh, mommy.
Umami? Sorry.
Mommy?
Sorry.
Can I have some umami? Sorry, umami? Sorry, umami?
Oh, mama.
Oh, mama.
Oh, mama.
Umami. I mean umami. I mean mom. I mean umami.
Okay.
I would like my ramen to have some mommy in it. Ooh, sorry, mommy. I mean, sorry, mommy.
What?
Sorry, mommy.
I'm saving you from Bowser. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's helpful actually.
That's actually true. Thank you.
Yeah, you're no problem.
Oh, gross as
Look
dog.
at David being such a bro.
Really, I love David. David, good people. I shouldn't
And
have
look,
allowed
David
him
just
to get
catapulted into first.
What are you talking about?
that. I ain't another chance time fast.
Well, you better get around to it.
Yeah.
Well, you better go catch it.
A double star?
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah, I had the double star card.
Crank it up.
Crank it up.
Oh, now we're halfway.
Yeah. By turn 15, we should decide what we want, right?
Yeah.
Oh god, this one.
Oh god.
Oh, this one.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, I just set the reminder.
I'm not very good at this one. I
I'm
don't.
Alright.
very bad at this.
It's about
Okay.
getting a consistent flow going, but it's like difficult to get the momentum as you approach the carrot.
All right, let's do it.
I approach people's carrots all the time, you don't know. You don't know my momentum.
Oh my god, that's so long.
Let's do it.
I'm not kidding. I'm sorry.
Ride it, my pony.
I didn't even know that song until like 2 years ago.
I'm not gonna hit this.
Ready to acquire. I'm gonna win one for one. When it shows my mom, she's gonna be proud of me. Get it here.
Run the win, bullseye!
No, Solid, no!
I hate it. I hate it. I hate everything about my life. I've made terrible choices to get to this moment.
No! Okay, I give up.
That carrot was absolutely yellow when you got it.
I know, right?
It was like very split second.
Hey, 42,
That's
40.
terrible.
It's just so hard to get it starting. Like, it feels like you have to start out slower than you have to.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that was a lucky. I already forgot.
That was a bonus, yeah.
Mario time.
No, it's not. It has never been Mario Time, and it will never be Mario Time.
Shut up.
See, look, man, very helpful. You got a lucky space.
What?
You get a ward block and get out of this terrible situation.
Yes, give me. No, exactly, yeah, you're right. Shit. Hate it here.
Solid.
My man really do be stuck on Cantaloupe Island with no hope of escape.
I am so sorry, Solid. This happens
Are you
every
though?
single time.
You really do, though.
No!
Oh, look, Rosie. Golden pipe.
I'm gonna kill everyone on this board.
Why? That's not very nice. It's just a merchant toad.
Except the merchant toad.
I gave the
You're
merchant
just a
money.
donkey.
It's just a donkey. It's
Such a good.
Yeah, the versus space is just gone from this board now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It doesn't come back.
What about the
Such a good
chance? Is it still there?
The chance space is still there, yes.
Okay.
I feel like that's a Shrek quote that doesn't get quoted very often.
Very good.
It's hideous. Well, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey. Clearly, he's talking about Shrek.
Oh, I miscalculated because of the... I
No,
miscalculated.
this is no. The fact that he says it's just a donkey is a symbol of the democratic nation and how it is fallen asunder to the monarchy.
Oh, no, I didn't. Okay.
God. Are you trying, David? Are you trying to tell me that we're under England again?
Welcome to film theory.
If we're under England, does that mean the Queen's on top?
Oh, I hate it. Thanks.
Lucky.
Oh, hey. Hey, Rosalina. I see you're
Hey.
on the lucky space too.
Yeah.
Hey.
How's it going?
Doing good.
Get me
Bet my money on a stupid horse. I lost that. So I ran out to the track to get my cash back.
Goal. Give us goal.
No.
It's like,
Me Donkey Kong. You like my teeth?
Oh, this one. Oh, I usually almost never like solo.
That hit Donkey Kong. I don't understand why it didn't count.
Pretty big.
look, man. It only grazed my shoulder.
Tis but a flesh.
They really balanced this one, huh?
They did, but I think I earned the win because I let Solid get there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
One person has to act as a distraction in order for the three to win that.
Yeah.
I almost never get the one player.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for both
It is
people,
hard.
honestly.
Yeah, it's actually pretty well balanced, I'd say. One of the three are inherently hard to balance.
Mario time.
Alright, what do we got? Item.
1v3 is a very interesting time.
Mm. Bit better than Mario Party 5.
Yeah.
Mario Party
What if they brought Heatstroke?
I will actually be mad.
They patch in Heatstroke.
Let me refresh my memory on what that one was. Oh, would you look at that? They're heat stroke, in which they're on a Kingdom Hearts stage.
The sun?
Wait,
Yes,
what?
you know. Oh, so you're telling me it's Outer Wilds? Okay.
Oh my god.
I can't
I
believe.
love how
Mario
Plasma went. I
45.
like how Plasma went from I'm afraid of the Outer Wilds to this is my favorite game right now.
It was like I am still afraid of it because it's like it's I don't know, it's majestic and like intimidating in a way that I mean there's parts that made me shit my pants straight up, like no lie. But it's just I can't say it'd be spoiling it. It's just an amazing game. Like I really recommend it.
It's really cool and space.
It has a lot of meaning to
This
it.
is an interesting predicament, but yeah.
Hear that?
Damn, that was a lot of money. What do I look like? Made out of money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes
my-
bananas.
Donkey Kong is clearly made out of potassium, okay?
Yeah, block for items. All the items. What?
You could have gotten an item by landing on the item space.
Yeah, but I also wanted an item box on all the items.
The
If you-
plunder chest. Oh no, the
Are you-
That's
chest item
illegal,
box.
you know?
Rosie, are you really gonna use that item pipe? Okay, good.
Oops, sorry.
No,
No,
you.
hold on,
Why
sorry.
would you? Okay, it's right
No,
there.
no, no, sorry. I just need to double check.
Hmm.
Take the risk. At least you have a fail state. Hey, look, an item bag.
Oh my god,
Okay.
I want that.
I want.
Dueling glove. Oh gosh.
I've been needing a new pair of gloves. I want them.
Well, I want that. Did I just land on bows?
Hope so. Be hilarious. You're gonna forget about the revolution, in which case I'm turning the game off. That's a
I'm
joke.
just gonna go up. You can turn the game off all you want. It's not gonna change the fact that I am still the host, and it will just replace you with AI.
I'm shit posting. I'm not.
No, I know.
actually
But your shit
doing
post
that.
is in
AI would probably
vain.
do better, honestly.
Bro, it's not the last 5 turns yet. If you want to duel me, it's gonna have to wait.
Oh shit! They actually. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Dang. Donkey
Y'all
Kong.
just keep following each other.
sexy mama.
Nice teeth. Hey, sexy mama, nice teeth.
It's retractable teeth.
Wait, we haven't gotten a single. Oh, I'm not gonna win this. We haven't gotten a single coin minigame this entire time.
Good.
You know, I like this future, and like Donkey Kong is like just really appreciates people with curly white.
Hmm.
Donkey
The
Kong becomes a
Colt
dentist.
game model.
Oh god, it's
Yeah.
this game.
3, 2,
Hate mashing games.
Oh! You were so close! God damn, I thought you got it.
Damn, I'm gonna be honest, that was the best one yet. What?
Ah damn.
Good
That
shit,
was
Rosie.
You
wild.
literally can't mash when the button is this small.
Yeah, it's hard. GameCube was better for mashing.
It has the fat A button.
If it's 2 buttons at once, I can do that, like the Mecha Marathon.
Yeah. I struggle with that one.
Did you just? Oh my god. No, you didn't. Okay. You gonna finally get off the side down? Thank you.
And watch someone
Finally.
hit the face right now. I'm fully expecting it to happen. I am prepared for every eventuality, especially the ones that fuck me in the ass, because those seem to be the most common.
Fuck me in the ass cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way.
I actually think I can't remember
Man.
this at all what nobody's referencing.
Wait,
Damn, I
please
guess
tell
I have
me
to
at
do a
least one of
church.
you got that reference.
Oh my god, what
It,
the
it
hell?
was the
Garfunkel and
Damn,
Oates.
Damn, getting cut real hard. With these
isn't that the
festivals.
one by the South Park guys or no?
No, it's by 2 girls. Oh look, Bowser.
One cup.
Oh, good. It's been a while since we've seen him.
Oh, Rosalina, finally you came to my condo. How you doing?
I thought you said
You wanna lose-
condom. I was
I
like,
also heard
hello.
Oh, come on!
You
Yeah.
like communism?
I was actually.
Check this out.
I learned this from Karl Marx.
This game just love taking a
Listen,
fat
I
goose in
also
my
lost
mouth.
from that, okay?
No, I know, I just got 0 stars. I'm getting insulted. It's fine, lose that.
Everyone's like, woo.
That actually was really good for Rosie.
Yeah.
Rosie
Okay.
had the most to gain from that, and yet she's still... No
Sorry,
way.
flop was made. I'm gonna pee myself.
No
Oh, you
way.
slut.
Yes.
Roll a 1,
And then I
dude.
roll a 1, and let's
Roll
hope for
a
that 1. Let's go. Let's go. That's a 1, right? Looks like a 1.
It
I
sure
love
is.
I absolutely love the lack of hesitancy in which Rosie will call someone a slut. So funny. Without a within like a breath of another sentence, she will just call you a slut. And I mean, like, in my case, it's accurate.
Hey guys, the top toll has been halved.
Oh no,
Yay,
you only have to pay
1
like
point.
$2 now.
Thank God, I'm so glad that our taxes went into that.
Oh,
Okay, this is the Goomba one.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
the
the flip
Goomba.
platoon. We're on the same team, so I get splattered. We're in the blue team's best team. Women.
Oh man, Rumi time.
The fact that there was a Goomba, like, not done, like, painted for, like, that long was incredible.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys were ready.
No, you're good.
Yeah, we were ready, but it took you so long.
TikTok, TikTok.
Low key, the mic is covering my picture, so I'm just like, oh shit, y'all are ready.
I just realized you can wrap around the thumb.
Oh, I didn't even.
Oh, that's a mechanic.
I feel like it's just easier, though, if you don't and let your partner take...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's true.
Yeah.
But it's still a mechanic.
What the hell? Okay.
What the hell?
Oh my god, who won? I can't say. Oh, I think Cliff.
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
Yeah.
When it was 3 to 8, I was like, what happened?
I know. I was like, wait, shit.
That's what it feels like to invest in cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It's
is.
also what I feel like to actually play Splatoon. Everything's decided the last game.
Listen, I'm invested in Shiba Inu, so, like, I understand.
Listen, fam,
I don't even think it's gonna pop off, but if it does, I'll be a millionaire.
Mario
I
time.
just happen to have some Doge, but like it's just there.
Oh, you got some Doge?
Yeah, like
Some
a year
Doge?
ago or so.
From
Yeah.
Boogie.
I don't like
Like,
the
you know,
way
a
that's
year ago
done.
when it was memeing off. Man, remember
I'm a
when
Doge.
the January meme was GameStop stocks?
Yeah.
The
God,
January?
don't
Holy
remind me,
shit.
because I wish that I got in on that.
Oh.
Yeah. Everyone tried to, and they like locked
Well, I mean,
people out.
we got into AMC, right?
Yeah, and I made some money off of AMC, and, like, AMC not quitting was trending the other day, so...
Yeah. I still have my AMC. I also, for the record, have my actual investments. So, AMC is the least of my worries. Invest wisely, everyone.
Yeah, please invest wisely. Don't be a fool.
I mean, I would say
invest
this game-
wisely. Dollar
I
sign.
can't imagine a situation
WSLY.
where that would be wise, but you do you, Rosie.
Or is what?
Making
Sorry.
poor decisions every day.
I can't. That's
Rosie, what will you
so
invest
much.
in?
I think that I think it would have been worse if she exchanged her golden piper.
Oh, like the skeleton keys with the
Oh,
AI.
I see. That's a good investment, actually. Yeah.
She can make it work. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just need to get a few more coins. You said?
This is absolutely ridiculous. This board.
Third.
What are you talking about? This is great.
Y'all need to cash in.
For a few glorious seconds, I'm not in last place.
What's happening?
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
oh my-
quartered.
He only cost a penny now.
Or nothing. I don't know.
The next lucky space. Thwomp is now free.
He just left. He's not even paying anymore.
Alright, next turn is turn 15. What are we thinking about the turn count?
I'm good with 20.
Good as it is? Alright.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not good at this one.
Dude, the other day I got so lucky when I was playing with Green and Limit. Like,
Okay, I keep thinking it's A to
it's
enter.
up. It's up, yeah.
Oh, this one.
Like, literally, I kept getting, like, the door in my first try was so funny.
Start.
I like how we all have the same.
Fuck.
Oh shit, why did I do that?
Listen, something going on with DK and Rosalina. I don't know what it is.
You're freaky, though.
We just have a connection, man.
Listen, fam, I know you were talking about Toadshi earlier, but
I got a second.
Donkalina.
Donkalina.
Rosa Kong.
Rosa Kong.
Rosa Cock.
I kinda like Donkalina, to be honest with you.
Dog Kalita.
We're like Dongalina. Ah.
That's what was going on in there. You don't need to spell it out for
Hey,
everybody.
Dunkalita, more like she got the big donkas.
Mario time.
Macaron. Macaron.
Macaron. Macaron. Macaron. Macaron. How to stretch it? You know, no big deal.
Whoa, did you just slap Mario in the ass?
Slap your ass. Slap your ass. Slap your ass. Gonna do some ass slapping.
So angry.
Mass slapping.
Slap those
Mario
cheeks.
When you slap Mario in the ass, he mad.
Like, give me something that can win and not.
Please be
give
the
me
worst
something.
one. Oh no.
Nobody is not my
Rosie, you're on the inside. You're screwed.
At least it's
Oh,
kind of commercial.
You're literally screwed on the inside.
Tinky.
Start.
Didn't take long. I'll take it.
And that's what you get. Nobody slapped my ass except Peach.
Thanks for the self-esteem boost, Rosie.
The silence is deafening.
Oh.
Well, there you go, Mario.
Oh, thank God you didn't roll a 6.
Wanted is not your turn.
Oh,
This
no,
is a really bad
Rosie,
turn
no.
for Rose.
Man, this isn't stonks. I hate it.
Well, I'm winning because I have a cat, so.
That's true.
You know
You're winning
what?
to get 2 golden pipes, too.
You got a star.
Okay, this really could be anyone's game at this point.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Anyone's getting my ass.
If the anyone, it's me or David.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyone's game.
It's true.
Oh,
Look how many pipes you have.
yeah, you
Oh, you
literally
need
I
have
only have 17 coins.
win some mini games then.
All you need to do is get to Koopa. That's it. And then you can invest in one more.
Well, it's a lucky mini game, so like,
I really need to see chance that happening. It's important.
Holy shit! I need to push for 5 just to see just to at least cash out.
it could be money
Yeah.
bells. Okay, yeah, you got this. You're the
No, I
one.
don't.
You're the one.
The angle.
You're gonna get something.
No,
do that,
but the
babe.
angle fucks me up.
Yes, but you're gonna get something and afford that star.
You will get
thought I-
stuff.
That being said, the angle is dickish. Yeah.
Was it always like this though?
No.
Yes.
Well, it was easier back in the day. The coins were bigger back in the day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Hit start, Dave.
Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry.
feel like ever since the Switch happened, like
Coins have gotten
Things-
smaller.
it's just like things have gotten so much more spaced out because there's a lot more
It's because of all those
uh,
illegal
memory
votes.
to work with.
Legal what?
It's because of all those illegal votes. They voted to make the coins smaller.
Going to abolish the point, can you imagine?
Yeah, they want. Yeah.
Well, I'm not getting that.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta know which ones
When to hold them and when to fold them.
But I can't do this.
You're getting some good stuff right now.
Oh my god. Where was the other coin bag? Oh.
Finish.
Look, brother, you still got more coins.
Stonks.
Donkeys.
I really like DK's just win victory pose where he's just clapping. Everyone else is just frozen, but then like DK's just like, yeah, I'm celebrating.
It speaks to me as though they really didn't know what to do with Donkey
Dave,
Kong in
first
terms of I got it. I'm sorry. It speaks to me like they really didn't know how to make Donkey Kong celebrate, so they just did the next best thing.
Was he gonna give you a golden pipe, a plunder chest?
Okay.
Yes, please. Golden pipe, please. Golden pipe.
30? Jesus.
Oh my god.
I don't need that much money.
I disagree.
Hey, that's my
You don't
birthday.
help my kid.
Oh, yeah.
I like the shaking head.
Mario time.
I like
Yeah,
when the toe like wags his finger like like bitch.
God, I love this remix so much.
Rosie, you can get 2 stars now.
We hidden block, please. Block. Oh, okay. Fuck this game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
finally!
There you go. Good
Oh,
shit.
Oh god, you're gonna duel me?
Only it could take like 10 years.
Oh, you didn't even have to use a golden pipe. Nice.
You got a star.
Nah, it's not worth doing actually. I'll just do like $1.
What? Oh.
One! Well, it's just more of like, if I lose and then I go past Koopa, then I can't
Oh,
use
God.
2. So, that's why. Cause, so yeah, at most 1 coin is all I can wager.
You know, this one had a really cool aesthetic in Mario Party 3. I'm glad this one came in.
I love how in Mario Party 3 it was before PD Piranha was out, so the other one they play, you just change your Piranha plant with the leg.
PD Piranha is not out yet, actually. He's still in the process.
Yeah, that's what Solid said though.
Fuck. Yeah, here you go. You won. You're $1. Congrats.
Thanks.
Winner.
That'll put me through college.
I mean, have you paid your debts?
No, I'm like $91,000 in debt.
Gross.
Sucks.
Like honestly, I've debated if I want to go back to school because it's like, because art school kind of a sham.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. Sometimes, yeah.
Can be, I should say. I don't.
It can be. If you, it's like, for me, it was like I had to be good at the art and get into the program, and if not, well, I just kind of wasted 5 years.
What was your
You
major?
got a star.
Animation illustration.
Ooh.
Yeah, I tried to get my hand into something like, you know, big and professional, but
Mm-hmm. work out
I
for
can
you?
never. I couldn't get myself into the program. I tried my best to like
Oh.
show that, yeah, I'm good at art, and no,
He just wouldn't accept you.
Yeah.
Colleges
It
are so
happens.
finicky
It's just-
about that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just so hit and miss because it's like, oh, anime style. Oh, we won't let you in. No. It's like, shut up.
Did you hear there's like an epidemic of like students, like high school students, like
Yeah.
faking their credentials, or, like in their essay to get into college?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Talking
That's
like,
surprising.
talking about like patents they don't have. Things like that. Yeah, like
I'm not
patents.
surprised. Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? You know what I heard? The high school I used to go to, it's pretty academic. It's like pretty like academically competitive. But like I heard, you know what I heard from my aunt? It got worse, and I'm like, how did it get worse? It was bad before, but it got worse.
Oh no.
I'm like, uh-oh.
Man, it really has become a whole fake it till you make it thing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's always how it's been, I think, but yeah.
I feel like it is even more so
What
now.
what did you do, Mario? What did you do?
Like, don't get me wrong, obviously school's important, but like, just the way they're handling it is not smart.
Yeah. The way it's competition is
Yeah, unhealthy.
Fighting over like fake letters
Wow.
that won't matter at the end.
And if you get lucky with the algorithm, you're set. So like,
Yeah.
I know it's kind of the same thing, but like it's just like
no,
you
college
people,
is
you
an
know,
algorithm.
it kind of
Sometimes
is.
I feel like part of college is like getting the connections you need.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
It's not about what you know, it's what who you know. You know? It's like
Yeah.
if everything wasn't so systematic and it actually cared about people instead of the overarching numbers.
No! Wait, how did I jump over?
I think you bounced on my head and lost.
But I didn't move the controls. Okay, whatever.
I don't know. I
You really do.
It did hitch for a moment because I think it considered my jump a double press and it like ground.
Like,
pounded
unless
me.
you
Yeah, you-
move
you
just
butt stomped
before,
straight
like,
into
it,
the
like,
water.
sound weird.
Mario time.
Yeah.
Stomp.
No, it was the first one. That second one was yeah, the second one was just a desperate attempt.
Yo, I just want y'all to know right now, I have 60.9k coins here. Points.
Poke, you have 60.9 Poke, nice. How nice for that.
Oh, nice for that.
Nice. Nice.
Koda just sees me, it's like, oh my god.
Hey, you're back already?
I'm so fast.
The others can't
Just
keep
need,
up with
like-
your superstardom.
You just need a few more
Did you just
coins.
switch where they are? Not that it matters
I
to
think
you,
so.
but
Oh shit.
You need a few more coins and you can use that golden pipe again.
No.
no, you. Oh yeah, no, you didn't. Okay, I thought you did.
No, I didn't.
Whew.
Well, there you go.
3.
I might have actually. I'm not sure.
I don't think there's a thingy over there, but if you went here, then I think you did switch.
Oh my god, why?
Yeah, you switched. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the advantage is that you get to see moves. I almost said
No, the
Tokyo.
advantage is that instead of getting 2 stars with 1 golden pipe, David now has to use his golden pipe just to get 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
That being said, actually, I may have done myself bad.
Yeah, because now I think he can steal your stuff.
He will.
How much is steal your stars? Is it 30 or 50?
50.
This one.
50.
Oh gosh.
I'm thinking.
I mean,
if
you'll
that's
just
right.
have to see. I mean, Twi's just gonna. Well, no, he can't even steal it back.
I probably will get a chance to steal it back by the time I get over there.
Maybe.
And that's what I'm thinking about, right? Should I bank on the fact that maybe I can steal enough for you to not be able to do that? Or do I just take your star and we just play tradesies?
Tradesies.
I feel like tradesies is the safer route.
You think?
Yeah, because if I don't steal enough, you just end up taking my star, and I don't get any benefit out of it.
Mhm.
But if I steal the star, you'll just end up taking
Alternatively,
it back.
I could just, you know, say no to the star, steal your coin star instead back, and then we've gone nowhere except we've both lost 50 coins.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing, right? Do I want a net loss for me or equal loss?
You
And I
picked
think-
you picked coins.
I did.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
fine.
I thought you could back out. That scared me.
No. I knew you could back out. That's why I told you.
Yeah.
I may be your victim,
Okay,
but
let's
I'm not
go.
going to be a cheat about it. I would have done the same thing. I was just trying to talk you out of it because obviously I'm the one with something to lose here.
But you know, it is a thought to ponder. You
You got a
know?
star.
This is an absolutely insane game. Holy shit.
Honestly, 6 stars. Wild.
It's funny every time it's been like every single time we've been hitting like fat numbers.
I don't know why. I'm just not good at this one. I just lose sight.
Isn't this your favorite board according to your trainer card?
Finish.
Well, no. I mean the mini game.
Oh, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, barely.
I'm hard at this one. What? No, I'm bad at this one.
You're hard at this one.
Understandable. You go hard on this one.
Yeah, I do. That's exactly what I meant.
Roll call.
Oh lord,
Yay!
it's just
Why
we
I'm
did
a
a
mod.
counting one earlier.
I want you to know this is why I'm a mod now.
Mm.
This is exactly why. So I can do this.
First of all, I was like, I'm hard at this one. What? I mean, I'm bad at this one. Or no, I didn't even say I mean.
sorry.
I'm bad at this one is what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, so just-
I can.
Yeah.
I can
Okay, I'm
rearrange
moving.
that.
I'll activate
I gotta
edit
move
quote
the
for you
mic.
later.
Start.
Okay. Moving the mic slightly out of the way.
Like everyone said what?
Oh shoot.
Was it you that said what?
Oh shoot. Sorry. My battery ran out.
No.
Don't worry. I have my Joy-Cons.
Finish.
Fuck. I think we all fucked it up. I think we all.
What do we all fucking up?
What is it? 25?
No, I'm thinking it's 21.
Oh my god, we all fucked
Oh,
up. Okay,
wait.
Rosie got
Oh
it.
my god.
That was the worst possible outcome.
Wow.
I needed that minigame so badly.
I was like, I know I counted that second one right.
Oops.
What? How did I get money? I thought I lost.
Because you won?
No, 'cause you tied.
won-
You guys tied.
Oh. Oh, I missed. For some reason I thought you got it right with 22.
No. I was one off.
No.
I get another fucking one. Okay, that's better.
You got a 10 minus 1.
So technically, you kind of got the one there.
Shut up.
I'm glad that sticker exists. I mean nothing by it, by the way.
No, I know. I'm not actually mad. I know. I may be a
I have to
little
use my
bit drunk,
Joy-Cons
but
now.
I'm not
Pro
gonna get
controller
mad
died?
at playing Mario Party.
Oh yeah, I just ran out of battery.
Mm.
It's fine.
Meow. Meow.
Congratulations, we're now all on the side of the board.
And you get chance time. It's my only chance time in this board.
Your only chance.
Your only hat.
Oh, I love that game. I've been playing that recently a little bit.
Oh, it's my secret cap.
It's my secret cat. Literally just a game I had in time.
How is this happening?
Oh my god.
Well, I know the obvious one.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, okay.
You know, money.
It's not even proportional, though. I don't know how much you're gonna get from this.
Yeah.
Mario.
Damn it.
Mario rolling.
Just have
Mario
Star
should really
now
spend.
if they can. Also,
Oh,
I don't
there-
want to lose to you.
Oh, there's my Joy-Con grip. I keep forgetting where it is.
Mario really needs to spend his money.
No, you know, I will. You know what? Just be said that I will. I know exactly where it's coming from.
Let's go.
Get a 1.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, what?
That's good.
Why is that good?
Wait, that's true. Now he has enough to.
I
see,
need
like,
to. I needed
get a
70
start
coins to do what I wanted.
Oh.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for a little.
You're gonna go for fucking chance time.
Do it. Fucking do it.
Makes sense.
I hope it's gived by all of your stars.
Is that a thing, or are they just swap stars?
There's swap and then there's give 1.
Yeah.
You
I
could
have a different proposal.
you could give that star back.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You just screwed me and Plasma out of this, so like, you've made enemies today.
Yeah. I mean, he was already my enemy. He knew that.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a threat right now.
God,
Oh,
no,
thank
oh,
God.
well, no.
I was glad it was not
Is it-
Castaways.
It's Smash 8, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
smash it.
this is not gonna be good with the. Now I have the grip, so that's not.
I enjoy your con, sir.
I have instilled
Start.
violence.
Oh,
It's B, right?
it's A.
Dive?
It's down to
A.
dive. Down on the stick.
Oh, I keep forgetting. I don't know why. It's fine.
What?
You know, I can appreciate this minigame.
Oh, we all got second for that? Okay.
It's weird.
That's strange. Okay.
No, we.
Oh,
No,
because I
I
probably
don't-
expected somebody to make it to the end. That makes sense.
Oh my god.
No, like you won, and then we all got second, despite the fact that we all lost at different times.
Big. Shonky roll. Yes, that's better.
Is that Bowser? No, it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a red space, I think, but
He was like, oh yeah, free item. Oh shit, I got scammed.
Wow, that's bullshit.
if you manage to roll, what is it, a 4, I think it is? Or is it a 5? Alright. I'm gonna need a roll from heaven. I'm not gonna get it. Actually. Oh god. Oh no. That's really bad.
We duel. Oh no, we're dueling.
I don't want to duel you.
Okay, let's put 1 coin up.
You do 1 coin, forehead.
But, yeah, but I need 50. I'm gonna have 49 if I lose this.
You get 50. Oh damn.
Because it's -6 from those spaces now.
Oh geez, that's true.
Okay, I can do this.
The worst one.
No, this is not as bad as Spin Doctor.
Oh, Spin Doctor's
Doctor's
bullshit.
absolutely-
Start.
They all just pick a
Really
winner.
fun. Spin Doctor is fun to play, to just play though.
Well, it's not like a steak, I guess, that makes sense.
When, yeah, or like if you really get like a rhythm to it, it's fun.
Oh, how? That didn't hit you, but that fucking Goomba did? What the fuck?
There's something strange about hitboxes, because everyone's supposed to
It's
have the
fucking
same,
weird.
but
Like, this doesn't feel like space physics either.
Yeah,
honestly.
this is wacky, yes.
It's like the same but different.
This is not a good performance, but hey.
It might
Could be one more? No, I'm done.
Butt rock.
no, I think it's after those two big rocks, it's just a straight shot.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for only wagering 1 coin. That was very good of you.
Yeah, no, I could. If I knew it was gonna be, if I knew it was gonna be the Aster Road Rage or whatever it's called, I would have bet. I would have bet all of them.
Road rage.
I just button
It's a rule.
mashes on here with the fucking Joy-Cons.
Is that chance time? No, it's not. It
Oh,
is.
please don't apologize. Oh my god. No question. No hesitation.
Ooh.
Oh my
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Could
Yeah,
be really
yes,
bad for me
you.
or really good for anybody that's not me.
I'm nervous, because, like, this could be, like, the worst mistake ever. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
Or which is worse, hitting the middle first or hitting?
You got
the-
some buyer's remorse already, David.
I mean, I came this far, I didn't know what to do next.
You gotta commit.
Let Lady Luck take the run. Smash it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Mario.
Oh god. I take it back. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
Do it.
Don't fucking. You know what?
Okay, I'm out of it. I'm out of it. Okay.
What more can you take from me? What possibly?
Oh,
Okay, you know what? That works. That works for
that's
me.
like the tamest
Thank you.
fucking thing.
That
you've
was
ever
the, honestly the best outcome for David there.
Yeah. Imagine if it was like swap stars. Oh my god.
I was praying for it. I was hoping.
Solid would
Yeah.
instantly win because no one can beat his coins.
We'd lead, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
pizza, pizza! I
I love
never
this
get
one.
this one.
Okay, it's time.
Oh,
to
don't go that
unhinge
way,
your jaws.
Rosalina. Jesus Christ. Rosalina went off the plate. She's like, I can't do this. I'm allergic.
I'm on a
I'm
diet.
lactose intolerant.
I don't like pepperoni.
I'm also intolerant of people without toes.
Dang. What did they ever do to you?
It's impossible. How can they like feet if they don't have any? How can I make fun of them? I guess they have feet, actually.
Listen, never accept feet.
It is our brand, yeah.
We're gonna lose.
Dang, devoured.
Oh damn.
The board.
Sorry.
Winners.
Bored.
That's alright. I have what I need.
You know what you get. Wah, 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 wah.
Thank God
I
that went the way
basically
it
need
needed
to
to.
sweep all the. I need to sweep all the stars if I want to win, which is not happening.
Mario time.
Alright. Go ahead, take my stars. This gonna be any no, this is gonna be a close one.
Unless Solid wants to.
If I
come
steal your
fly.
fucking star, hey Lucas, if I steal your star, I lose in a coin tie.
I mean, Solid has the power. He's
Yeah,
basically
solid.
determining who wins.
I'm gonna need you to be
Do
the
what?
worst person right now.
What, steal from you?
Yeah, don't do that.
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
It's clear where he's
Why
going.
would I ever do that?
Come here.
What?
Wait,
Why?
I have no chance of being David. Rosie robbed me. I'm taking my revenge.
What are you talking about? That
You
was
could-
your only opportunity.
Won the game for me.
Why would I make when I can fuck over someone else? That's the spirit of the game.
okay.
Damn.
Listen, this way I have a chance.
Damn, you really stealing stars from a sick person?
Listen,
Don't
okay,
fucking
you
attack me.
you
I'll
don't
go
have
shit.
you don't have COVID. You can't play that card.
I still have the fever though.
I was mugged earlier.
Literally, like when I was on Xeno Penumbra stream playing. Oh my God, you could do it. What?
Chance.
Do it. Oh my god, yes.
What's gonna? Oh, you dual fast. Everything, every
Dude, I
last
don't
thing.
want, dude,
Sure,
I don't
why
want to do
not?
this. Let's just do one.
Oh, okay.
It's the last turn. What do you get to lose?
all or nothing for David. Do an all or nothing.
Hey, I don't
nothing,
mind.
David.
I don't mind. 16. Why not? This is gonna be like No Man's Land in a bit.
This is gonna be absolutely crazy. I can't wait to see the graph.
At this point, is everyone gold?
Oh
I'm
god.
getting
Everyone's-
excited.
Oh, I'm not good at this one.
Wave Racer, or is
Do
this
whatever.
is this Wave Racer?
Yes. No, it's Motor Rooter.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not winning this one.
You can do it.
No, you can do this, Rosie. I believe in you.
Listen, if Solid got David
The
on this
directions
one, you
fuck
can
me up.
do it.
I don't know why.
No, yeah, I know
Oh my
it.
god,
Yeah.
David, I can't beat David. That's the whole point.
No, but you did that
I
one
can't
time on
believe
this
Solid
game.
powered it out.
Oh, that's true.
That-
Yeah, I did win this one before.
I'm actually kind of. I'm appalled that Solid actually went down this route.
Listen, I was in fourth place. I got Monk's coin. You bet your ass gonna get my revenge.
Finish.
Yeah, see, I didn't win.
Alright, you tried. That's what matters.
I don't know why. Just when it goes on top, it like the directions fuck me up.
It's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's just like based on the character's perspective, which is strange.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Here's the good part. What's better?
We could see something
Okay,
big
well-
here. Aim to screw Donkey Kong.
Dance time.
I'm gonna match it.
I am here for the ride.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You mean
What
No.
the fuck?
Oh gosh. That was not the outcome we were expecting.
Let's go.
Oh god.
well, I was kind of hoping Solid, but you know.
When I get an item space when I don't need it, great.
Come grab my stuff.
Aim to screw Mario.
I was about to say, are you gonna go for Solid though? Just like give me the start back.
Oh my god. I am not having a good night.
If you stole from David, this would be an even game. Kinda.
Yeah, but the worst thing you can assume is that I'm gonna be predictable. Because where's the fun in that?
Yes, you can. If predictable is strategic, then yes.
Where's the strategy? I'm losing either way.
That's why you can extend 5 more turns.
No, I can't. I literally can't. You can't do it on the last turn.
Oh, you can't?
Really?
No.
Oh shit.
See?
Damn.
It's disabled.
Should have said something sooner.
I thought my game crashed for a minute.
Imagine the game crashed. Oh well, I guess we have to start another board.
No, it would
Nope.
start over on this turn. Alright.
Damn, we could have had a
Holy
redo
shit.
of that. We could have had a
What's this
redo
one?
of that.
The one where you have to
Wow.
stand in front on the pedestal.
Oh,
This one's really
one.
I
hard.
hate this one.
This had more twists than a Danganronpa case. This is amazing.
This one's great.
I think I won that one.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
practice. It doesn't matter.
I know. I like how they let you practice.
Yeah.
Right now.
Start.
Also,
Yeah, I
of
like
course,
how it's good. Oh, that's focusing. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I really appreciate that
fuck.
you're-
All right, that's safe.
See, this is David's strategy with this. Stand in the corner doing absolutely nothing. At the last second, hop in while everyone's down.
I mean, you took a picture of my dumpy, so you know that's all that matters.
Also, David was also flexing Donkey's glutes there. Did you see
Them
that?
bonus stars.
Oh
Yeah,
no, that's not me.
I like to choke it.
Hey.
All right, well, I can't win anymore.
Yes.
David wins.
We knew that. Okay. Oh, that's me. That's me.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh!
Bruh. Plasma
Solid.
gave the game to David there, I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the moral of this story.
Literally, if I didn't go all in on the duel, I could have won.
I'm low-key
Shoot.
stunned. I can't believe Solid did that.
That duel
There
actually
could have been a
mattered.
chance.
Yeah.
It could have been 3 chance times too, and that didn't fix it. So. Listen,
I don't
my
know
goal
who's-
was to not get last. which
I don't know
did,
who screwed me worse, honestly.
I did nothing. You said I shouldn't affect you, and I didn't. I'm a man of my word.
Anyone could have won that, yeah.
It
I
was
can't believe that,
That
bro.
was wild. That was a wild game. What the hell?
Oh my god, they was actually really close to coins collected.
You all had. Oh my god.
That's stars
Literally-
collected at the throughout the game, yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The stars.
Oh, why was the mini game damn it.
What's the event? Oh.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Damn
Dude,
it.
if
Oh
it
my
was
God,
classic,
that last minigame
if it was classic,
that
I would have
last
won. Oh
minigame
my god.
mattered. Yeah.
Oh my, you
Uh,
took. Brother, you took 11 more steps than I did down. Or 11 fewer steps than I did.
What on earth is this?
Stars, bro.
We had an economic rise at one point.
Look at this graph!
This is basically Japan in the 1980s. Just inflation.
You know what it was? I think it might have been because I used like 2 golden pipes.
69.
Nice.
69.
Nice.
Nice. 60 no more.
Very good.
Oh man, I still gotta wait for Wordle.
That was fun. Wanna go to Mount Mini Games? I don't know.
No.
GG.
I gotta
Let's
pee
play the
first.
best game, Mario Puzzle Party.
Are you trying to kill me?
Yeah.
Fine, I'll play Mario Puzzle Party. I don't give a shit.
Alright. Give me 1 second, I gotta pee.
Alright.
I'll be right back for that.
Do you think I won't?
Let's go.
Thank God for cursor memory.
I love that. That's pretty good. It's such a nifty quality of life thing.
Sorry for party rockin'. Every day I'm suffering. Dun, 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 dun.
Man, I can't believe we live in the timeline where LMFAO released "I'm Sexy" and I know it.
Wiggle, 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 yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah, yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah, yeah.
No, it's just it's just party rockin', but it's just wiggle, 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 and it doesn't stop.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Where's this game? Oh, here it is.
Flash forward. Oh no.
Stick and spin. We should try. Now we have to do it. We have to play stick and spin together.
Is there a versus? Oh, there is. Okay. All right, we'll do Mario's Puzzle Party first.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Since Plasma's in the bathroom, why don't we do this one first?
Okay, cool.
Oh, there it was. Okay.
I am playing.
I gotta see how this one looks, because I don't think I've ever seen this game before.
This one lasts a while, actually.
Oh, I'm on the right
You're on
side.
the
I
right,
had to
yeah.
remember that. Yeah, I had to remember.
You're blue.
Is it like that one game with like the Mayan frog, the Zuma?
Zuma?
Yeah, isn't it just that?
It looks more like it reminds me of like Panda Pop, those kind of games, the bubble games.
Oh right. But I think that's what the Zuma game is based off of. Now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It definitely also has that vibe.
Oh, I can send trash blocks to you? Hell.
Yeah. If you form a good combo, then you send trash.
What's
Well,
with the numbers?
it takes that many matches adjacent to them to break them. This is honestly one of the better puzzle games.
Do what I tell you. Isn't it fun?
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. We're playing Stick and Spin while we wait for you.
Damn. Mario this game should have had nailed upon. That would have been so
Oh,
hard.
you mean Doki Doki Literature Club?
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
You shitting me? I thought it was just the visual narrative.
No, it's panel defined.
Fuck.
I thought that was just Honey Pop.
You know
Panel to
what?
pop.
I don't like.
Honey to pop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not worth.
Wait a minute, Honey Pop's a bubble game. Oh no!
Yeah. I was playing it
Yeah.
Earlier.
Oh, I did see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
Honey Pop is just Candy Crush, isn't it?
Kind of.
Kinda, yeah.
It's Panda Pop.
Hmm.
It is actually unironically fun though.
Yeah, no, it's really
Oh
fun.
no, yeah.
Really fun looking anyway, because I've never played it.
I have seen a little bit of it. It seems hilarious.
When do we
It's
get the
so
return
funny.
of books, man?
I know it was written by somebody who's probably never seen a woman before in their life, but like,
Yeah, pretty much.
God, this
I
garbage.
mean, they had female voice actresses, so they clearly looked at one.
I looked at one from like a screen wall, because voice actors, can't be inside the studio.
No, I mean, well, this
Fiverr.
came out like mid, like 2010s, I think. So. Yeah, Honey Pop came out a while ago.
Yeah, damn.
I also came out a while ago.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks.
GG. Good job.
I read that as like you came out of the womb.
Hmm.
Well, no, because Twi's birthday's next week, so.
Yeah, so I haven't been born yet, actually. That's the problem.
That works. I was a C-section because I never came out of the womb.
Yeah, no, my womb expulsion anniversary is not yet, so
Yeah, you got expelled from womb.
yeah.
God,
Imagine
Well, I was really
being
bad at
born in a-
Splatoon, so they told me I couldn't stay at the woomie.
University.
Woomiversity. You got expelled from Woomiversity.
If we ever form a Splatoon league, like a Splatoon esports team, we gotta be the Woomiversity.
Oh my god.
Trademark it right now. Well,
Trademark it. Copyright it. I don't know.
Oh, here it comes.
Copyright.
Gotta do something about this here.
Our theme song is Lose Control.
Theme song make you lose control. Theme song make you lose control. Let's go. Here we go now.
Every tone now! Every tone now! Every tone now!
Mr. Mina's in the house. The hero's in the house. Mr. Mina's in the house. Batman scoop, man scoop. I got a cute big chubby waist, thick legs, and thick rum. Make it do a double take. Planet rocker, showstopper, flow proper, headlocker. Beat Scarlet, tail dropper, do my thing, mother. Now Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, Blue Medina.
Man, what is it about early 2010s that just had good music?
They understood.
It was the
what
recession,
made-
isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but you said it first.
the
Listen, I knew where it was
recession, man.
going.
It does things to people.
Poverty makes good music. I don't know what to tell you.
Poverty makes you lose control.
Yeah, no, I really do.
It sure do. God
I
damn.
guess the question is, was that being written by people who were actually impoverished?
Well,
I don't know.
The point is,
Make it lose control. I get it.
the point is music.
Music makes the people come together.
Why
Yeah.
are you guys doing this? I want to find that one Mr. Mosby edit. It's like, how do you lose control?
Troll. Music. Okay, Rosie, I think you're beating me. Call it a hunch.
Gave it away.
Win this one again?
What?
How do you win this one?
You, the first person to get, like, I think 10 balls outside of the arena wins.
Yeah.
Or outside
Yeah,
of the...
and there's like a timer too for that.
The first person to lose control loses.
Essentially.
Yeah.
It's like Tetris attack.
You can.
Oh, it must have been like a Twitter specific video.
It was on Twitter, yeah.
I can't find it.
Oh gosh, if it was on Twitter, good luck finding it.
Yeah.
I think
it's
you
gonna
may
be
have
hard.
posted it in one of the meme channels.
Did
I
you?
think I did.
Is it in your MP4 bank?
Rosie, how are you doing this?
I need to put it in my MP4 bank. You're right.
Need to archive it for posterity.
I found an old TikTok posted like ages ago.
Oh my god, I'm fucked. So fucked.
Let me scroll up from side room because I know I post a lot of shit in there. But here it is.
Oh,
I
just
found
end
it.
me.
Music. Found it. Here it is. Okay, now that I know it's there, I'm gonna have to save the video.
Not
Honestly,
that
the
good.
quick
at
drop,
speaking
the quick drop is your best friend.
stuff. I was doing it, yeah.
There you go.
It's a good game. I'm just very bad at it. Oh, did somebody pay out the prediction?
I can't because I participated in it.
Oh, I'll do it then.
Oh, I can't do it anymore because it can't grab the link. Something about it being
Why
private,
or
you know?
David, yeah.
Dang, time to record your screen and audio.
I don't know. Is it whoever makes a prediction has to do the payout?
No, not necessarily, but if you participate in it, you cannot say who does it or who wins.
Okay.
God.
Wait a minute.
Oh no, this one again.
This game is
Oh,
just
it's up for instance.
this game is just bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was holding everyone up.
You literally just quick drop and you like win.
Mm-hmm.
If I do ever try to create a game that tomorrow, I'm gonna have to pick from
This game. This game.
Yes, this game is made out of game.
Can I get a thwomp, please? Nah, this game is.
Can I get a swamp in chat? Oh, I fucked up. Oh, I'm fucking up.
God, I hate this. He did absolutely nothing. And it worked. Kind of.
Yeah, he was feeling some more points. Why am I getting all the blocks?
Everyone's got blocks. Just gotta hide them.
You lose blocks.
Music.
Pluck! Old Spice body wash!
My God!
I wasn't expecting that.
What?
That was
What the hell? Bruh. I don't understand.
I came back from hell. You want to play it again?
Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe. What is wrong
Oh
with
my
me?
god, this is gonna end up becoming our favorite game.
No, it's not.
again.
No, I hate this game. I hate it so much.
Why are we playing it again?
Because it's
great.
awful. I hate
We
everything.
love CBT.
Same reason we play Mario Pain.
You know, block torture. I didn't have something for C.
Block and block torture.
Block torture.
Oh no!
Can I please get thank you?
Zod, I can't believe you won the prediction by voting against yourself.
Listen, I know I'm bad at this game. The odds are better if I vote against myself.
He threw the game so
Even
so
though
he could get points.
That was big brain, actually, I have to admit.
Thank you.
I can't believe it. That's a certified moment that I saw another streamer that had happened to another streamer. Like the dude deliberately threw because he put like
I don't
50,000
understand.
down
I figured out how to play
on
the game.
himself losing.
Oh gosh.
You want to do it
Let's play
again?
Hot Road. Let's play Hot Road.
You want to do it skip? Hot row jump?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus Christ, how am I?
Why you're
Don't worry,
so
I'll like
evil?
immediately. This is a lie fucks me up.
Do you want to go endless? Let's go endless.
Yes.
Oh god.
Endless Spin Doctor. Let's go.
You know what? I'm just gonna put the controller
That's how
over
Spin
here.
Doctor feels all the time.
What's the other Twitter downloader?
The flames look really cool in blue.
Yeah, and then he changed it.
It's less cool in red. Even though, according to the laws of fire...
Dave.
What's up? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're fine,
Oh,
you're fine, don't worry about it.
Way to be able to get off the ground.
I'm like, please. You can mess up now.
I can... in a bit.
Okay, while y'all are doing this very important, serious game, I just wanted to ask, why do they call it oven when you
Oven the cold food, out hot, eat the food.
Food. Out hot.
Yes.
Aiden's favorite coffee pasta, as far as I know.
Well, we know what my favorite copy pasta is.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yeah, no, but you know I want to.
Gossip, you hate this for me. Let's be clear on that. But why did Potabu call mine? Oh my god.
Why did who?
Call it oven.
Why did? Oh my god.
Why did they call it?
But why did they call it?
Out.
Nah, but you know I want to gossip, you hate this for me. Let's be clear on that. But why did they call it oven the when they call it oven when you oven the cold food out hot, eat the food?
No, but you know I but you know I want to gossip, so he hate this for me. Let's be clear on that. Why you trying to come on phone?
Tell me when Leaks said the trade box out here like
Now you
Oh
trying
my
to get
God.
out to me. If I was you, I would smack that bitch.
Game.
they get crazy.
Game.
They get crazy.
Game.
I thought you bit the dust there.
I thought too.
Jump.
There was an
Jump,
earlier
jump,
one that I
jump, jump.
really thought I bit the dust.
I'm getting sweaty just watching.
Meeny, miny, mo. Who
Gonna,
the fuck?
I thought you were gonna die at
Nice.
69. Nice.
So you have to get to 420.
Oh my god, no. Don't you...
Jump. Jump. Jump.
Oh,
Jump.
they're trying to juke me, man.
Jump. Jump.
Bro, if you're still here, like why?
I know, right? If you're somehow still here, I'm shocked.
I'm not even still here.
Oh my god. Stop.
If you give me twice record, I'll be impressed.
It doesn't give you a break. You're gonna beat my record. There's no way. It's not a good record. I got tired. You should have died there.
There you
Oh
go.
my
God, wow.
Fuck, dude. That was amazing.
That was good, yeah. Wanna
You
play
can play again,
Booksquirm?
or did you say quit?
I hit minigame. You wanna play Booksquirm?
Yeah,
Books.
Yeah.
Where's Booksquirm? Oh, here it is.
I got it. I think I got the video music.
Why does Yoshi show his ass?
See, I was gonna ask that earlier, actually.
Is this endless?
Yeah, it is.
Endless Booksquirm is the only game ever.
Yeah.
Dude, once you get past the 20, it's like impossible.
I can't believe Booksquirm invented fun.
Start.
Bum, 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 bum,
Fuck, it's about to
bum,
come
bum.
crashing down on me.
I can't believe
Life, your life.
Booksquirm was what prompted so many people to be into stepping on me.
I don't know if that
Yep.
is something that I
Without
would say.
feet, though.
F is for fire.
David, you almost lost
dumb-
there.
For-
I almost did.
You for uranium butt.
It just makes me happy seeing Booksquirm.
Such a fun fight for your life. It's ridiculous. We love
Man.
watching characters struggle to stay alive.
4 was my first Mario Party, and I think my first video game ever, now that I think about it. It was definitely the first game I got on my GameCube. I think I might have played
At this
Melee
point, you have to
first.
have your pathing down.
Yeah.
A new record.
All right, that is my new record. Thank you. I did that.
Yes, you did.
Here you go, Twy. I put the video down in the room just for you.
Thank you.
I'm also throwing it in my bank.
I don't have to play Pushy Penguins in a normal match of this yet.
Oh, god damn it. Not that one.
I started saying, "Oh god damn it," to Pushy Penguin, and I'm like, how?
No, not that.
No, motherfucker. Oh,
I was
God,
like,
no.
I'm about to put the video in the bank. I put the link instead.
Oh, okay.
What if there was an endless mode of this where the longest surviving one wins?
That would actually
That would be
amazing.
fun.
That would be fun.
So much
That's a
kinda
good
fun.
one.
They would just
Should've
crowd the
asked
whole
them,
thing
huh?
with like the fat ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Oh
love
my
Yeah,
god,
after-
that game of Pushy Penguins last night. I don't know how I won that.
After a while, the fat penguins just say, "Never mind." You know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say that.
Hey, you got it.
I was gonna say after a while, the fat penguins say MAGA and build the wall.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
I will make political jokes at whenever I feel like.
It's your stream. Oh god.
They like scuttle near the end too. No, I was like, what?
Wow, I'm like among them. Bum,
They're
bum,
so
bum,
cute.
bum, bum.
The penguins are so cute.
I know. What else should we play? We just hit 7 hours, actually. Maybe we should go? I don't know.
Maybe.
We can do
One
a
bout is
big
big blast. One bout is big blast. Answer.
Alright, fine. But, okay, actually, can we play Leaf Leap and then do that?
No.
Sure.
Rosie, I didn't
One
ask
other
you.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking anyone. It was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, that
Half this
wasn't
pod full of crackheads. Not me, girl. I didn't say you. Half this pod full of crackheads. One of the funniest moments on Beyond Scared Straight I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I'm bad at this. It stresses me out so bad.
You definitely move faster in the original.
Yeah, this one they
Keep psyching myself out, dude. No one's gonna beat my record, though, so I guess I'm fine.
Oh shit.
Didn't even make it off of Earth, dude. What the fuck?
I'll get fucked.
I think I tied with Solar.
Oh really? Damn, we did. Okay.
Rosie's so mean to me. What did I do to deserve that?
That's what you get.
What do I get for what? What do I get for what?
This is what you get.
I said no to Leaf Leap, but you're like, well, I was asking you.
God.
Okay, you know
I
what?
wanna
Fair
play
enough.
Leaf Leap,
Fair
but then
enough.
you had her play, and so now they've won. Oh,
All right.
I did hit start this time.
Oh fuck, really?
No, I bet you hit it.
Alright, well,
Oh.
This is just unbridled chaos.
Think of it as a streamer.
that would be a
Double
really
that
funny
for
thing if we all
banana.
just picked, like, whichever one we landed on when we started, we had to pick it.
Banana.
Banana?
Banana.
Banana?
You know there's only one way to play games like this, right?
Now watch.
I'll admit this version of the game, it's a lot more stressful because of the music.
There you go. Yeah, I agree.
No, the one from 4 had way more stressful music. It was the passive, it was like the passive peril music. Or
There's only
something.
one way to play this,
But
you
this
guys.
one has the
You don't
suspense
understand.
on it.
Wow, Mario really has to contemplate choosing the
Mario
white one.
pondering the pump.
Banana. Why you take banana? Okay. Green jungle.
Apple. Bottom jeans. Boots with the fur.
I can't believe you took my banana.
Here we go. Shorty had the apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
Boots with the fur.
The whole club was looking at her. She hit the flow.
Next thing you know,
Next thing you know, Shorty got low, 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 low.
I swear to God, if I win this.
Solid. If you win this, it'll be on brand.
the
It will,
coconut
absolutely.
gun and the Reeboks with the strap.
Oh my God, Ben. The fucking
Turn around
Ben.
and give this big booty a hurt. Huh.
She hit the flow. Next thing you know,
Oh, yeah, so close, you know.
next thing you know, Shorty got low, 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 low,
my
low, low,
fucking
low.
God.
Solid.
Oh, I think okay. I think we're referencing two different things.
I feel better about my life now.
Yeah, you won. You got the screw attack because he was on the ground there the whole way.
And then Twilight plays again.
Oops.
Oh, random minigame. Okay.
Oh my God,
Random,
fair
okay,
enough.
let's
Oh
see.
no. How did we not
I
get
thought
this
that
one?
was Pikachu for a second. I'm like,
Aw,
what the
this
fuck?
is the most anticlimactic thing to end on.
Yeah, no, we
You
can't end
gotta
on
play
this.
it. You can't end
Can we
on
back
this.
out?
We can't. It's too late. We gotta pick another minigame after this.
Why? We said we were ending with my
No,
aim
no.
war.
we
I didn't
can't
say
end on this
anything.
one.
I don't speak.
Dungeon duo. Dungeon duo.
Oh my god, dungeon duos would be so
Yes,
funny.
Dungeon
That
Duo
would
is
actually be hilarious.
But actually,
We won't
Dungeon
finish.
Duo.
Oh wow, you can actually push the shell. It's just very hard.
Well, I mean, it is a shell. It tends to be like that.
We gotta
Oh,
get it
shit.
out of his
Come
shell.
on.
Winner.
Boots with the jeans.
Shorty had them apple bottom jeans, boots with the jeans, The whole club was looking at
Was
jeans.
looking at jeans.
She hit the jeans. Next thing is jeans. Shorty got jeans.
Okay, you want to know the best part about that edit?
Yeah,
the
can
fact
we just
that
go out? Can we just
next
go out?
thing,
Fine. Where is it?
Oh, you spit it.
I thought we were doing.
Is it-
Okay, we'll do that and then dungeon duos and then we'll call it. Okay. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
nowhere. Oh god,
Oh, this one's good. I love this one
Oh, yeah.
actually. This is my favorite game.
this was good, but like,
Them baggy sweatpants and the Reeboks with the pants,
Turn around and give it the booty up pants.
Next thing your pants.
Okay,
Shorty
so
got
seems
pants,
to be the other way.
So what's the good thing about that remix?
Okay.
the good thing about that remix is
You know.
they went out of their way to say "next thing you jeans," because instinctively, if you're gonna be saying jeans that much, you might as well just do that. So I'm glad they actually do that.
Yeah,
Because you know, any other same
Damn.
edit would just say
I
next
had it
thing
for a
you
second.
know,
I really did.
good.
Maybe it actually meant
Rosie, why do you just gotta
I
make
love
me? Why do you have to make me feel insecure? Like,
You're insecure. You're insecure.
you're insecure.
You're insecure.
You're insecure. You're insecure, insecure.
Insecure.
Wow, beautiful.
You gave me a bonus one. I didn't even finish. You just gave me a bonus one.
You've got mental issues. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
The Dungeon Duels was by my Switch just ran low on battery.
All right, we'll do dungeon duos. Don't worry.
It just hit the console battery. low.
Where is it? I can't find it. Is it this one? No,
I think they're alphabetical. It's gonna be the
I don't think they're alphabetical because the first one says mushroom mix-up.
They're by
They're by game.
They're
Oh,
they're by
yeah, they're by
game
game
and
that they
also
were
by
in.
tech.
Oh, far right. Far right.
It's
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, they're by game and then also by sorted out by if they're 1v1 like free for all 2v2.
Okay, they're ready to lose. 'cause I'm
I
not
didn't
good.
even look.
Who you choose?
I'm with you, Plasma.
Okay. In that case, we are both sides are sufficiently handicapped. Will be interesting.
Start.
I need to remember what button it is. It's B.
Mashing. Button mashing. It's so funny.
Very good.
Oh shit, I'm sorry, I accidentally slipped.
It's like I'm right in the room with you. The
Plasma, Plasma, it's going back up, it's going back up.
Oh, no, I was mashing. What the crap? I was mashing one finger instead.
Are you trying to mash with two?
Yeah, it's usually. I thought it was pro strat.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking of GameCube controller.
Sorry, I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
even then, the B button wasn't that big.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Oh
Yeah.
shit,
I'm so sorry.
I'd used the wrong button. Jump.
Okay, stop.
Fine. It's hard.
Okay, good.
Let it wait.
Oh, X. Okay.
Man, remember in 4
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
where the computer was
Okay,
just
this one's X.
doing it?
So last God damn it!
Alright, you know
I
what?
remember.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, nice.
I'm so mad.
Hang on, so-
If we both actually mash the X console together, it does go faster.
Oh, interesting.
I must be one of the top ones.
Okay.
God damn it!
Okay, I think this one's a masher.
Oh,
That one actually. Yeah.
I think it like Oh my god, so
Woo!
I can't believe that Bowser balloon game.
I
is
thought
just
I was
this
gonna
part of Dungeon Duos.
Hell yeah, Rosie, we did it.
Jeez.
A new record.
Boy, he's gonna be so mad at me right now.
No, I'm not mad at you.
It's disappointed.
I'm mad at myself for picking the teams.
Twice like I need a win. We can't end unless I need a win.
No, I can end on a loss.
Okay.
I'm used to L's, I can take one more.
L on her forehead.
Yeah.
Oh my god, check Twitter. Check
Except,
Twitter.
you know what,
check-
they do
check-
stop coming, because nothing in that performance was cum-worthy. Oh my god, Papers.
What's on Twitter? Trying to find Twitter.
Oh my god, Paperstar.
It's really good.
Oh.
Your handwriting's really good, actually.
Yeah, that's some
I'm
good
retweeting
shit.
that.
Oh, that's the fucking
Thanks,
collage
Paperstar.
Yeah,
from
that was awesome.
Studio Paint. I can tell. Don't worry.
I also have CSV, but I don't have a drawing tablet right now. I do have the one that you sent me in wishlist.
Oh man, I gotta find a good reaction
I
pic for
try to
that.
upgrade my tablet. I can send it to you. Depends. It might take like 5 years before I get like a nice space for a nice display tablet.
That's fair. Alright, I guess I'm gonna end
I
it
guess
here.
96.
Thank you all for coming back to my my return to streaming there. That was
Hey,
fun.
Welcome back to streaming.
I had fun, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Glad to have you, friend.
I'll deal with this later. I shouldn't have tried to reattach the Joy-Cons. But yeah, thank you so much for that was fun. I can't believe we went for as long as we did. I can't
Yeah, talk
I
about
can't believe
stamina.
that Cynthia sweep. Oh my god. Absolutely incredible.
How did the second one go? I'm sorry I missed it.
I used Calm Mind 6 times with Bronzong while Spiritomb was out, and then just annihilated her entire team.
That's amazing.
It was like a comeback story and a half.
Yeah.
How'd
Let's
you
raid
not-
let's raid Mads.
Heck yeah.
Even though he's probably gonna end soon, but like he's live and very few people are alive, so like
What's our raid?
that's a good
Toadchi.
question. No, Toadchi is like I don't know. There
No,
was some
okay.
there was some cursed shit that happened.
Going Kalina.
What was it? The gigolo
Yes.
meter?
the jiglometer. I don't know.
Jiglometer.
Juggalo
It was like Gigolo meter.
I think
Yeah,
it's like
there
the
you go,
I
yeah.
think it's like jiglometer.
I think Aiden got it down.
I don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, thank you for that. I have to. You know what? Let me cancel that raid and start it again. Let's do the speeches. All right. If you're not following me on Twitter, you can do that. I don't know why you would, but like, do it. If you're in my Discord, cool. If you're not, join. I want to start doing movie nights and karaoke nights and stuff, so that'd be fun. If you are looking for more streamers to watch, you can always check out the Smile Time Charity Twitch team. There is usually someone live at any given time, and we're just a great group of people. We run charity together every December. Rosie and Solid Plasma are part of that team, and it's a bunch of cool people you should all check out. But yeah, let's figure out a raid message. I don't know. I kind of like Donkalina.
Donkalina.
Donkalina is good.
Why not?
Oh,
Yeah,
hold on.
let's
Hold
go.
on. Before you friggin' finish this, hold on. I need to do a thing. Oh god, I gotta hurry.
And yeah,
Hurry.
thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. You're awesome, and I will see you next probably Saturday for my birthday stream. I'm
Birthday.
sure.
Hell yeah.
Now that time I will give you honey pop.
Aiden, damn, that's a cold ass honky.
He should be
Okay.
Oh no, I meant.
Hey Macklemore, can we go thrift shopping? What? What?
I'm gonna pop some guns. Got my
got
coconut
$20
in my pocket.
I'm honey, looking for a come up. This is fucking
This is
awesome.
fucking awesome.
Alright, let's go. I'm gonna hit the raid message button now. Bye, everyone.
Bye, penis.
Thank you.
Bye.
I knew you were gonna say it.
And